House that was already here, actually. He lived right in town. First place. Then they don't.
Good evening. Welcome to this regular session of County Council, May 11th, 2026. We'll open with our invocation by Councilmember Lane, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for all your many blessings. Thank you for the ability and the opportunity we have to serve you, Lord, in this county. We ask for your guidance, Lord, and your discernment. And we ask that you please continue to be with Mr. West and his family, Lord, during this time and grant them peace and comfort. And we ask that everyone here leave here safely, go at home. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
This evening we have it's not a heavy agenda, but we have a lot content wise on it, and we have another meeting right after. So I'll need approval of our agenda for May 11th, 2026. All those in favor of approving the agenda? 7-0. We have two sets of meeting minutes this evening we need to approve. First is the April 13th, 2026 regular session, followed by the March 23rd, 2026 quarterly public input session. What is your pleasure?
Motion to approve the April 13th regular session and the March 23rd quarterly public input session.
Second.
Any discussion on these minutes before we vote? All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please raise your right hand. 7-0. We have special recognitions this evening, several that are on, but I think Councilman Filson has some. Would you like to go first, Mr. Councilman Filson?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody.
David Hardy, please come forward.
We'll have all y'all come in one time.
Tim Howard. Chip Brownlee. Marilyn Easter. Reynold Stoddard. Jim Moore. Lynn West. Neely Abernathy. Shoshone William Adair.
Hi, y'all. What it is, every month, I'm gonna give out awards. And I don't know what department we're gonna give out to. This department is just our last time we supposed to meet in this building here. We supposed to move to the new courthouse next month, but I was told. So I want to go out to let y'all know. Thank y'all for what y'all have did for this whole county. It's And if another your facility, I know it's all out, but y'all let us in. And we still gonna have other meetings in here also. I was hoping. But I just want to tell each one of y'all, thank y'all for what y'all do. All the people that don't see behind the road know what y'all do. We want to say thank you, thank you. Now I'll take a picture with y'all here. Thank y'all.
Very much.
Thank y'all. Miss Beth, while you here, we're gonna give you rest of them so you can give out to
Okay.
your people. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all, sir.
Next, we have, Mr. Brownlee. Brownlee is gonna, share the National Historic Preservation Month proclamation.
On behalf of the County of Lawrence, South Carolina, it is with deep pride that we, the Lawrence County Council, do hereby proclaim with extreme honor National Historic Preservation Month. Whereas the month of May is recognized nationwide as National Historic Preservation Month, celebrating the importance of preserving and protecting the historic places, landmarks, and cultural heritage that shape our communities. And whereas Lawrence County is rich in history with historic buildings, neighborhoods, sites, and traditions that reflect the character, resilience, and heritage of its citizens. And whereas preserving these historic resources helps strengthen community pride, promotes education and tourism, and ensures future generations may appreciate the unique history of Lawrence County. And whereas Lawrence County recognizes the efforts of historians, preservation organizations, community leaders, and citizens who work diligently to protect and promote our local heritage. Therefore, be it proclaimed that Lawrence County Council hereby recognizes the month of May 2026 as National Historic Preservation Month in Lawrence County.
Thank you, sir.
So this award isn't being presented to anyone, but I will remind everyone about the courthouse ribbon cutting at 4 o'clock on Friday.
And I get the honor now of doing the proclamation for EMS Week. It's near and dear to my heart. On behalf of the County of Lawrence, South Carolina, it's with deep pride that we, the Lawrence County Council, do hereby proclaim with extreme honor the week of May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as EMS Week. And whereas the theme for the 2026 EMS Week is improving outcomes together, we focus on collaboration across healthcare, public health, fire, and law enforcement, with special emphasis on pre-hospital blood transfusion. And whereas emergency medical services are a vital public service, and whereas the members of the emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas emergency medical services fill healthcare gaps by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventive medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. Whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value of the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating the Emergency Medical Services Week, be it proclaimed on this 11th day of May, 2026 by Lawrence County Council. So, thank you, emergency medical responders, for what you do. And yes, if you're here this evening, Brent, do you have?
It's come all right. Good.
Okay, I got it.
Congratulations. Mr. 3, I believe it's your turn. Reports to council.
Absolutely. I'll keep this brief. I think Mr. Brownlee hit the nail on the head with this being Historic Preservation Month. And on Friday, we're going to have this unveiling of this multi-year program, renovation program of the historic courthouse. Friday at 4 p.m. It is an unbelievable building. The work is incredible. I think you guys are going to be really happy with what you see. Also, I have GW Daily has requested to come up and add to his series on the reassessment and the saga behind that. So
Welcome to GW.
Appreciate you. Just wanted to give you another quick update where we are with the reassessment process. I don't want anyone here to be surprised. We're in the final stages of the assessment. Our notices are scheduled to begin being mailed out June the 8th. That's depending upon our printer and the post office. We are planning for the notices to be mailed out June the 8th. Property owners of record as of May 15th should receive those notices by the end of June. If someone does not receive the notice by the end of June, they need to contact the assessor's office and we will get them one. The biggest thing we want the public to understand is that this is a required process. South Carolina law requires every county to complete reassessment every 5 years. It is to make sure that the properties are valued fairly and consistently based on current market conditions. As we all should know, over the last several years, the real estate market has increased dramatically. We are seeing overall market value increases throughout the county well above 70%. However, the most important number for taxpayers to know is the taxable increase is about 14% countywide. The distinction is important between market value and taxable value. They're not the same thing. A lot of the numbers that we're hearing on the news, things people talk about publicly, are market value increases. The taxable portion is what actually impacts the tax burden. We're working closely with the Department of Revenue, Finance Department, Mr. Street, the Auditor's Office, and the school districts regarding the rollback process. The rollback is designed to help keep overall top tax collections consistent countywide, which prevents the reassessment from creating a windfall of tax revenues for the county. Another important point is that reassessment does not automatically mean everyone's property changes at the same rate. Values are based on actual market activity and comparable sales within specific neighborhoods and specific areas of the county. We have updated our assessor's website with additional reassessment information, including frequently asked questions, notice information, and appeal instructions so taxpayers can better understand the process and know what steps to take if they have questions. If a property owner disagrees with the value they get in the mail, the appeal information is included directly on that reassessment notice. It's also available online. The process is outlined on the form, and the taxpayers will have the opportunity to ask questions and file an appeal if needed. Quote, "I don't believe in property tax" is not an appeal. I don't believe in property tax is a complaint. A complaint will not be treated as an appeal. As we move into the notice phase, our goal is to continue giving the public clear and factual information, answering questions, and making the process as transparent as possible. That's why we've been coming here every month. Hopefully, we only have one more trip. Lastly, I wanted to provide a quick update on new construction growth in the county. Last year, we closed out the year with approximately $215 million in new construction added to the tax base. This year, we are well over 300 million, almost 305 million in new construction. That translates to about 15 million in assessed value. You break that down, that's about 5 new houses a day in Lawrence County, every day. 5 new houses. Each house takes almost 7 trips. You count codes and assessors, those 5 new houses. Every single day are new roads, new people in our parks, new people in our libraries, new people in the clerk's office, new people in every department of this county. 5 new houses every single day, whether it rains or not. That's a lot more people. We gotta have a lot more help.
Good.
Any questions?
I'm with you, sir.
All right. If y'all have any questions, you know where to find me. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. That's it. Thank you. Next item is old business. We have one, appointment for Assessment Board of Appeals from District 7, Councilmember Lane. That's correct?
That's correct.
So, Councilmember Lane has appointed Larry Franklin to represent District 7 on his Assessment Board of Appeals appointment. Are there any other appointments to any boards from any other council? Not, we'll move on to item B. Second reading of ordinance 1009 to amend, the development of a joint county industrial and business park by and between Lawrence County, South Carolina and Greenville County, South Carolina in the Hunter Industrial Park to enlarge the park to add certain property located in Lawrence County. Mr. Metz, you wanna?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As council remembers, we had to recreate the Hunter Industrial Park because our park agreement had expired, so we have a new park and a new park agreement. And this is just moving those old properties from the old park agreement into the new park agreement.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve ordinance 1009 on second reading.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving ordinance 1009 on second reading, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Next item is new business. It is a presentation to the council from our Citizens Task Force on Land Use and Zoning. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, rest of the council, appreciate y'all having me tonight, especially let me speak to you on behalf as chairman of the Lawrence County Citizens Task Force on Land Use and Zoning. But I'm more proud to stand for you in front of you tonight representing the people of Lawrence County. That's really, when we use the word citizens, we're really talking about the people. And, we're seeing some pictures here, and I'm gonna say something that might sound kind of out of the ordinary, but I've been saying this in public for many years. Lawrence County's greatest treasure is our youth. And we need to treat them that way. Make no mistake about it, that's what this committee is about, the future of Lawrence County. And, we were formed on 11/11 of all days, 2024. And there again is the name of it, of the committee. Our committee had 5 goals that were set by y'all. Study current and future land use, study different types of applications of zoning, conduct public input meetings, develop political strategies, plans, and report our findings to y'all. And we worked hard at that. I appreciate my committee. We had our first meeting, I believe, on March the 3rd of last year. And during that time, we've had a total of about 15, 16 meetings. And 8 of them were scattered across the county. We had a public input meeting in every county council district. We went into the community and we were told by people that they appreciated it, that we actually came to them and asked them what we wanted to hear. Because when we had our meetings were not a formal meeting like this. I think most of you came to them. Our meetings were conducted in a conversation style meeting. And actually, the committee, instead of sitting at a head table, we actually sat in the crowd. Because what we think and thought, we already knew that. We come to hear what somebody else had to say. So we weren't trying to lead the meeting and didn't. And a conversational style meeting is unique, but it was very effective. We had 8 meetings, And of those 8 meetings, we had 342 people attend right at that. And over 210 or 12 actually participated. So everybody felt pretty comfortable. And since it was a conversation style meeting, you could speak to the other people in the crowd. The person could say something and you can answer back. And actually, sometimes we ask people in attendance for their opinion and the answer to some questions if we didn't know it. And there were a lot of them we didn't know. But most prevalent comments that we seen, and like I said, most of you were there, so y'all heard them. I'm not gonna dwell on it. But the overwhelming comment was we need protection. Unregulated growth does not seem to be working for us. There's a lot of things happening. There's a definite concern about losing community identity. There's definite concerns about overburdening the services that we have now. And as you all know, it doesn't take me to tell you, there's some people think that some of these things need upgrade now. And they're worried that if we add more people, these problems are just gonna get worse. And that's just some of the things. Even the availability of childcare, for example, came up there our meetings. And the cost, when as availability got scarcer, more people came, cost was even gonna go up higher. So it's something that needs to be addressed. And but Lawrence County has been talking about this for a minimum of 45 years. The way I understand it, it's been full council a minimum of 5 times. Council has appointed, this is the 3rd committee. And no action was taken. And a lot of people have been hurt. It's affected people's lives in a negative manner. We, the people of Lawrence County, want y'all to protect us. We need you. We literally can't do it without you. And there are different ways to do it. Nancy's gonna finish up our presentation. But the length of time that this thing has been pushed down the road, and it actually started in the late 70s, mid to late 70s. And we hired a company to do a study whether Lawrence, out of Columbia, do a study whether Lawrence County needed something. And they come back with a report that said we needed zoning around the cities, which would include Fountain Inn, Lawrence, and Clun. If we had that, things might have been a little simpler for some of these cities. We see growth questions around the city of Lawrence, city of Clun, and Fountain Inn. So they had a good idea 50 years ago about where we were headed, but we just didn't take heed of it. And, you know, I'm at the end of my career, but I've always been told what separates people is when a person sees something that needs to be done and tries to do something about it, or either just passes it off on the next person. And this is the time when something needs to be done. Now, I'm not saying we need to adopt zoning tonight. That's not what you're gonna hear from us. But I think it is time to let the people in Lawrence County know that you are listening to them and that you will try your best to protect them. Thank you. Yes.
I'm getting to the age I have to use these now, guys. So if I look across my glasses, it's not. So we're gonna start with what is zoning. Zoning is not stopping growth, it's guiding growth responsibly. Right now, Lawrence County is largely reacting to development one project at a time. Zoning gives communities a roadmap before conflicts happen instead of after. It helps separate incompatible land uses, protects property owners, improves safety, and gives both residents and developers predictability. Good zoning is not anti-growth. Good zoning creates orderly growth. This issue is bigger than just land use. Residents repeatedly told us they are worried about protecting property values, preserving farmland, maintaining public safety, and protecting the culture of Lawrence County. Growth affects roads, emergency response times, drainage, schools, infrastructure, and taxes. Without planning tools, those pressures only increase. So this is our current situation. This is where the county currently stands. We have no countywide zoning, no future land use map, and no consistent framework for growth decisions. That creates uncertainty for residents, uncertainty for developers, and uncertainty for council itself. When decisions are made case by case without a broader framework, it increases conflict and creates the perception of inconsistency. Without planning tools, the county is often forced into reactive decision-making instead of proactive governance. And of course, we all know the growth pressures from Greenville. We're no longer isolated from regional growth pressures. Growth moving outward from Greenville is already impacting Lawrence County. Whether we prepare for it or not, growth is coming. The real question is whether Lawrence County guides that growth initially or simply reacts to it after the problems occur. And this is, of course, the Lawrence County map, and this helps visualize the scale of what we're discussing. Different parts of the county are experiencing different levels of pressure, but nearly every community we visited expressed concerns about unmanaged growth, infrastructure strain, and protecting rural character. Residents understand it's happening. What they want is a plan. So this is our missing piece, and this may be one of the most important issues in the entire discussion. Our current comprehensive plan refers to the future land use map, yet the county does not currently have one in place. A future land use map provides direction for where growth should occur, where preservation should occur, and how infrastructure planning should align with development. Without it, long-term planning becomes significantly more difficult. This is not simply a planning issue, it is also a governance issue. Without clear, long-term planning tools, it becomes harder to demonstrate consistency in development decisions. That increases the potential for legal challenges and public distrust. Even when decisions are made with good intentions, the absence of clear policy guidance can create the perception of arbitrary decision-making. This is the task force focused not only on the problems, but also on the realistic solutions. We identified short-term, medium-term, and long-term strategies that allow the county to move forward gradually and responsibly. This approach avoids trying to change everything at once while still beginning the planning process immediately. There are multiple ways Lawrence County can approach implementation. Some counties adopt zoning countywide immediately, others phase in gradually, others begin with overlays and targeted protection. This does not have to be an all or nothing conversation. One important recommendation is using outside professional planning assistance combined with local citizen oversight. A planning consultant can provide technical expertise, legal guidance, and mapping capabilities that counties often do not have internally, but community involvement remains essential. This process should reflect Lawrence County's values, not simply a generic template. So one option is county council adoption. This is the most common process used in South Carolina directly through hearings and public input. It also is the fastest implementation option if council determines action is necessary. Option 2, and this is another option the task force discussed, is phased implementation. Rather than applying zoning countywide all at once, Lawrence County could begin in areas already experiencing the highest growth pressures and expand gradually over time. This approach allows residents and communities to participate more directly in the process and reduces concerns about sudden countywide change. There are several ways this could be structured. One option would allow residents in a defined area to petition for zoning protections. Another option could follow voting precincts or county council districts, allowing implementation to occur on phase-based or geographic areas. The county could also focus on high growth corridors where development pressures, traffic, and infrastructure strain are already increasing. A phased approach recognizes the different parts of Lawrence County may want different levels of protection and planning. This type of phased approach has been used successfully in other communities because it gives counties time to adapt while allowing residents to see the benefits of planning before broader expansions occur. But I'm going to put in a little side note there. If we don't have an ordinance in place, you can't do any of those things. So overlay districts was another option. Overlay districts can provide targeted protections without implementing full zoning immediately. These overlays can address issues like buffering farmland from subdivisions, stormwater concerns, environmental protections, or infrastructure limitations. Some examples are an agricultural protection, a watershed and stormwater, rural character overlays, transportation corridor overlays, infrastructure capacity overlays. This may represent one of the most practical steps available to council. This was an example. This is actually out of our comprehensive plan. And this is it distributed how overlays can create additional protections in sensitive or higher growth areas while still allowing reasonable development. It is a balanced approach between no regulation and full zoning. The other option is a referendum. A referendum allows direct public voting. While not legally required in South Carolina, some communities choose this route for major policy decisions. However, it is slower, more expensive, and often less predictable than a structured planning process. What has worked best in South Carolina? When we looked at a successful approach in South Carolina, the pattern was consistent. Counties handled growth effectively, usually starting with a future land use map, adding overlays and protections first, and phase in zoning gradually over time. That approach reduces disruption while still establishing direction. What county council can do. Tonight, we would respectfully ask council to consider 2 immediate actions. First, we ask council to begin the process of creating and adopting a future land use map for Lawrence County. A future land use map provides direction, improves consistency, and helps the county plan infrastructure and growth responsibly. Second, as council moves into the second reading of the county budget, we ask the council to consider budgeting funds for the creation of a professionally designed zoning ordinance process. This does not commit the county to immediate implementation of countywide zoning. It simply ensures Lawrence County has the resources necessary to study, design, and evaluate responsible planning options with community involvement. In addition, council can continue strengthening subdivision regulations, buffering requirements, and overlay protections while long-term planning tools are developed. Our key message. The core of this message of the presentation is growth is coming and into Lawrence County, whether we prepare for it or not. The opportunity before council is not whether to allow growth, it's whether growth will occur with planning, consistency, and protection for existing communities. Responsible planning protects current residents and future generations. In closing, on behalf of the task force, thank you for the opportunity to present our findings. This process involved hundreds of residents from communities across the county who care deeply about the future of Lawrence County. We believe Lawrence County still has the opportunity to guide growth responsibly while protecting the character, agriculture, infrastructure, and communities that residents value most. Doing nothing is still a decision, and it has consequences. We want to thank you for your time and being able to present this, and if you have any questions, be.
Thank you for the hard work. I do appreciate that. Does council have questions for the task force of the presentation?
I do. Thank y'all, what y'all do. I've been to a couple. I learned a lot. Still learning. You open my eyes up to a bunch of stuff. But man, we can't even hire building code, so how we gonna put money in the budget to hire somebody else? And guess what? This town has been bad all day long. Sheriff Department need all these people moving in here, landfill. Sheriff Department, the fire department, the MES, everybody needs personnel. And I understand what you're going with what everybody's saying. I admit that. But guess what? We find money when we want to find money. They find money. I don't know where money is. But it's like this. I thank y'all what y'all do. What have you? And I appreciate you, and I admit, this is my first time. I'm gonna learn about the budget, and I know we need manpower. I know we need all of these personnel. The county gonna need more people too. But when more people come in, more death. More homicides, everything happens, right? So I admit that I hope that we can fund the sheriff department, MES, firefighters, building and code people, every department that needs somebody, man. But sanitation, people don't understand. They loaded, cause all these people moving in, but most of them ain't getting no more people. Rats come every day, 7 days a week.
Well,
But
let's ask,
that's it.
yeah,
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This company that y'all talking about hiring, is this just to get you through the process and then kind of like a contractor, so to speak?
I'm sure it would be somebody contracted, that it's contracted out to somebody to help establish a planning and zoning ordinance that the county can be adopted to the county. Doesn't have to be adopted countywide when it's done. It can be, done in the other ways of implementation. But yeah, I mean, but
The way I look at it, man, that's $75,000 to $100,000 for that company, that people's salary.
I get it. I'm just giving you an estimate. I totally understand. And I understand what you're saying, that, the strain that's on the county already, I get it. But we've got to find a way to control the growth. And so we've got to do something to be able to implement things that will help control that because of those very reasons you're talking about.
But the $75,000 to $100,000, the code that you're talking about, we still got to find an officer. We can't even find an officer building and code.
Yes, sir. Did that answer your question, though? It would be a company that I'm sure the administrator, and stuff like that, we would seek out, but we definitely believe that citizen input needs to be, along with that.
And when it's all done and over, we won't need this company anymore, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it's a temporary thing,
Yes.
get us through it, get it done right, and be done.
Yeah, it is a one-time investment as far as that goes. Yes, sir.
But you still have a zone person at the end full time.
You'll have to have a zoning board of appeals, which, y'all, put people on that. Yes.
But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, man, we still gotta have somebody full time to be a zoning.
Not necessarily, the zoning board of appeals is about.
I know the field, sir.
so we're getting
getting
way,
there, like-
hold on. We're getting way off. We're just going to ask questions from their presentation. We understand the pressures that we have for funding and things like that. We don't have to argue that with them. If we have questions about what they presented, though, specifically, let's ask those, and then we can have this conversation.
Well, we'd be glad to come back.
I would like to get the finance of, long before actually anybody on this council was here, there was a special projects fund set up that was designed for
instances just like this, if we choose to spend the money there. Can't be used for salaries, it's specifically special projects, which this would be. So I would encourage our fellow council members that when the time comes, if that's the opportunity and their desire, that we do that. My question would be, as y'all heard from the citizens, what was the feedback on council implemented versus referendum from the public?
That really did fall into, I think the biggest thing that we heard and worry from citizens was their property rights, and that's, I think, the biggest question that people have about zoning and not wanting their property rights to being taken care of, taken away from them. So we discussed in those meetings that if zoning was implemented in more of a protective type way, then we felt like that we got from the community that they could see that and understand that more versus like what you see in the cities and that type of zoning. Nobody wanted like what you can have in your yard or what you can have on your farm and that kind of thing. But I don't know that I really got a take from anybody as far as what type of implementation. Honestly, I don't think I got that feedback, and I'm not sure that anybody else remembered that feedback in the meetings. I don't think I remember that feedback in that respect.
I just have one more. I wanna say, Phil. Go ahead. Y'all.
I'd like to have my question answered if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Y'all, Lawrence County Water and Sewer, they do a 5-year plan.
Chris Wilson, just let him down. Okay. One of the things that did come up at almost every meeting is when they look at the county council, they don't see a vision for the council for Lawrence County. So they didn't even really consider you guys voting on it. But one of the things they wished was we could go ahead and get the protection across Lawrence County, but they don't know how that's gonna look. And that's why they were asking us different ways to do it
Who's the we?
at the meetings, the counties when they, residents when they come forward.
They wanted the task force to implement the protection.
No. They were asking different ways that, that it could be implemented. And we discussed different ways of it actually, possibly being implemented versus, countywide or referendum and stuff like that. There was discussion about the higher growth areas and concern about the areas that weren't seeing it as much. And so that was the basis of the talk in that respect.
Thank you.
Does that answer that? Okay.
I mean, for so long, we've been passing ordinances to mirror zoning, but they were not zoning. I guess not a question, but for council, for council adoption, that seems to be the quickest way without doing a referendum. We have roughly 35 to 40,000 people in the unincorporated areas of the county, and 300 showed up.
Yeah, that's a little shocking that.
That's not on y'all, like resources, everything. That's all you could bring, and typically it only.
Well, and I was kind of shocked in the fact that I had heard there was so much resistance to zoning many years ago. I felt like we would see more of that. There was concern about it, but there wasn't the pitchfork kind of situation that we've heard of in the past. And that was a relief that it wasn't like that. And so I think they're, concerned because they see, what's coming.
Yeah.
So.
But as a whole, we're basically talking about density-based zoning of, how certain areas, talking about lot sizes, not so much, hey, you can't paint your fence red.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any other questions for the task force?
Thank you.
That was awesome.
I do have a point of inquiry, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Do we wish to take action tonight
What type of action are you talking about?
to authorize the attorney or the administrator to move forward with drafting a land use map?
So this is my personal opinion on that, is we've been given a lot of information, that we have a planning department, we have county administrator and all, that we could have them look at what we just got presented and bring us thoughts on what the best way for us to attack this going forward is. That way we don't take action on something tonight that we didn't have full information. Is that reasonable?
Sure, absolutely. And the same for the second request of the task force, the budgetary request.
Absolutely. That was part of that was if we decided as a council that zoning or some type of zoning framework was what we were interested in, that there are opportunities to engage a company or something for $75,000 to $150,000 to help you with that. But that would be once we determine what we want to do. Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
So they can look at that as well.
Gotcha.
That's three. You got that?
Thank you. Perfect.
Well, let me ask this, can we not make a motion of some sort, let them move on, keep studying on it, or y'all aren't ready to hire anybody yet, are you?
We already hired them anyway.
We won't have, this is the same way we did the impact fees. I know their official advice is working on the impact fee analysis, but basically the county authorized the county attorney to go out and search for quotes from companies to develop the site use map.
Right. Well, what I'm thinking, we make a motion for them to move forward.
I think the administrator had a direction to us.
So I'll speak to this. When we set the task force up or the parameters within it, and I'll defer to the county attorney on some of this, is that we had a specific way that we were gonna do this, and when they accomplished their goal, that they would no longer be in that role. And that we would take the things that they gave us and consider those because they've talked to the voice of the customer and they found us several options to look at. And then it's on us then to make next steps. If we were to decide we needed some type of additional help with citizens or whatever, we could determine that going forward. But as their job now, that it is complete. If that's what you're asking, continuing what they've done, because they've brought us, I think, what we need, the information we need to be able to make next step. Help me if I'm wrong.
Have you got more to do?
No,
You,
we've completed our task force mission. Yes,
what would be the next step?
the county acting once they review what we've done. Yeah,
So the administration is gonna take the things that we got presented tonight, and they're gonna come up with some options for us to look at as a council, and then we'll make those determinations. Yep, yes, sir. We're at public comment. Joseph Kohler, would you like to step forward, please? And you're gonna speak to the land use zone. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, as you said, my name is Joseph Kohler. Excuse me. I live in a subdivision off of Green Pond Road called Oak Hill Estates. These people here probably have heard of it before. And I'm here because of what was on the screen about the growth that we're experiencing in our county. It's become clear to me as a resident that if I want to have a say in how it grows, I gotta come to meetings like this. So that's why I'm here tonight. I've been researching a lot of things because we are having a situation in Oak Hill Estates. I didn't mention it, but I also serve as the HOA president. And I've learned in my research that the county, there's work that could be done to help the community grow in a way that we don't see the mistakes that we see, like in Greenville. I see mistakes in Greenville, Greer, and even Fountain Inn happen. So I think we're at an important time in our county's development because this is just really starting to ramp up. I have a field by my house that's been sitting vacant since 2005. And now all of a sudden, all around me, it's popping up. So that's why I'm here. So the decisions we make, will outlive us. When we build, things are going to be there longer than us. And so we should really, make sure they're good decisions, not bad ones. So, I've become familiar with Ordinance 926. I've been studying it. Feel like I'm back in school with it. But talking about the future land use map, it references that 5 times. And sometimes it used the word and, ordinances and the future land use map. And as was brought out, it don't exist. And what I'm looking for, that don't mean a lot to me other than decisions are being made based on something that don't exist. And as a nobody, it just don't make sense to me. So, that's one thing. And then the other thing is I moved to the country for a reason, like many people. The Green Pond area is often referred to as God's country. I moved here in 2009 and that's what I heard and it is. It's where I love to live and it's beautiful. But I think with smart development, it could stay God's country, it could stay that kind of way. We look at an ordinance that was passed in 2024 in Greenville that requires rural areas to have 1.5 acres for homes in unsettled. Here in Lawrence County, we require 0.57 acres. A lot less, and of course, the developers are going by the ordinance, and they're packing them in. And, it's definitely changing the landscape, or could. It's early, but things are moving quick. It could change the landscape right where I live. So, I'm just hoping that we learn from our neighbors' mistakes and make decisions that are good for our county. I value living in this county, and I ask everyone who's in a position who can to work to make smart development changes to our processes. We need leadership that are motivated by the right reasons in this time, so that Lawrence County has we talked about the historic preservation that resonated with me, because I look at Green Pond area, and man, it would be great to preserve a little bit of the country, but left unhandled, unchecked, it's gonna look, what it's gonna look like. And that's why I'm here. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. We're at county council comments. Councilman Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you everyone for coming, and thank you to the task force for all of your diligent work and getting this in front of us. And I look forward to us taking action on it. To Mr. Joseph's point, we are referencing a map that does not exist, so I hope we can, take care of that. Thank you again to the task force. Thank you, EMS. We actually are going to be honoring a couple from Clinton. I can't tell you too many details. We're trying to keep it on the down low until we're able to present it to them by the request of someone involved. But stay tuned for that. And as always, reach out to me if you need anything.
Well, I want to thank the task force for the hard work y'all did voluntarily. I attend some of your meetings, and it was quite interesting to hear from the citizens of Lawrence County as well. So I do appreciate all the hard work that y'all done, and I'm looking forward, as Mr. Lane said, to move forward with action, to take action on that, to do something, protect our citizens of Lawrence County. All of us. We got to stick together on this part to do something. Like you said, knowing nothing, it ain't gonna solve the problem. So we have to do something to take action. I also want to thank recognizing our staff as well. Thank y'all for the work y'all done. I know election coming up, y'all working hard, diligently, and I thank you for that. And I thank all of you that came out to the meeting on this evening. And hope to see you all Friday at 4 o'clock. Thank you.
Ms. Patterson.
I just want to say thank you to our EMS folks. Their week's coming up next week, and I hope y'all celebrate it. And I hope your fellow first responders that are here will recognize you, and that y'all recognize them during their times too. So I look forward to y'all celebrating yourselves next week. And then also happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and it's always great to celebrate that. And would ask that you remember those that either celebrated their first one without their mom, or mom celebrated their first one without their kids. There's some of those out there, so let's remember those. School's about to let out, which means we're gonna have more kids running crazy. So be careful driving, pay attention. It's sad, but sometimes they forget they're at home and run out in the street. So just be observant and enjoy it, and enjoy time with your kids as they're home from school. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Youngs. Councilman Pilson.
First of all, I want to say my sympathy to go out to you, your family, sir. And Miss Cheyenne, hope you get well. And I want to thank every department. And I want to thank the voting people, the road restoration. Next month, we'll work on another department. And thank the whole county, all department head for what all y'all do. Thank you, TACO, what y'all have did. And I didn't bump head at first, but I learned it. I'm catching on. And I appreciate y'all. Just want to tell y'all, it's all at the end of the day, all I want to do, what's best for Lawrence County. Thank y'all.
Keep it very brief. Just appreciate you all being here. I'll echo the sentiments everyone else. Had some exciting news over the weekend. I got married on Saturday, so very excited, very excited. Excited for the courthouse to be opened up. We've got a full room tonight, so I send you all out. Please invite your friends to come back. We've got plenty more room in the courthouse, so we won't all be scrunched up. But again, just appreciate you all being here tonight. Zoning Task Force, EMS, all of our law enforcement personnel, just appreciate you all.
And he did say these have been best 2 days of his life, and I said if they weren't, there's a problem. Definitely congratulations. Friday will be historic for the historic courthouse for sure. It's something to behold, and it's an investment in this community and what we think about our community and for the future. Talk about the future. It's going to be there. We have an awesome staff that works for Lawrence County, and they put it in every day, and I appreciate everybody that works with us and their families that give. Let them come and give to our county. It's hard work. We're fixing to have an executive session and then a budget meeting, and so that's where the rubber meets the road, and it's not always fun. There are obviously in every municipality, in every county, there's more wants and needs than there are resources. So we'll try to be good stewards of that. We do have an executive session for the purpose of the receipt of legal advice subject to attorney-client privilege regarding civil action 2005 CP 30-1031. Is there a motion that we enter into executive session? Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It is 6:56. We have a budget. Say what? We have a next meeting scheduled at 7. We will go ahead and adjourn from here to our executive session if we could, council, and then we will be back. Thank you.
Give me two of these slides.
Right. Welcome back. The council met for the purposes of executive session of receiving legal advice subject to case 25 CP 30-1031. We were advised. We took no action and there's no action to be taken, so I will entertain a motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Stand adjourned. Okay. Next. Is everybody ready to get her? All right. You can have a couple.
They knocked. Or I. That's right, man. They ain't that desirable. Well, they do that. That's my interest.
Welcome back. We're gonna open our budget workshop for Lawrence County Council, May 11th, 2026. We'll start with approval of the agenda for the budget workshop. It is very brief, but I need approval of the agenda. Motion to approve. All those in favor? All right. I will turn it over. Mr. Cleary.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, I'd like to give credit where credit is due. Through this whole process, we had sort of a challenging time with getting all of these numbers and everything together. Melissa and Cheyenne really carried a lot of the load with this, with setting up department meetings and coordinating everything so that we have budget meetings with these departments. Getting all of those numbers, getting them in Excel spreadsheets before Casey arrived on the scene. And so I just want to give them a special recognition for all of the hard work that they put into this. And then with Casey being here, are you in your 4th week right now?
Yeah, today exactly 1 month.
Okay, so 1 month, and she has been baptized by fire, putting this together. And so what we're going to have tonight is a budget workshop that shows our expected revenues and expenses so that we can go through and look at our revenues and capital. So we won't have a full budget tonight, but at least we'll have an overview of where we feel like we are and how we can move forward. Now I'll turn it over to Casey.
evening, everybody. So this, like, Mr. Threet said, is just gonna be a summary of where we're at, where we're heading, what revenue's looking like, how we got there, what expenses are looking like based off of admin recommendations. And I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper into capital requests and, a little bit onto personnel requests after we talk about those expenses. And then there'll also be a final slide that talks a little bit about what millage may potentially look like. It's nothing set in stone. This is just to get these numbers, what we would have to do. So right now, this is just our schedule. I can't see any of this, y'all. I need new glasses. Please forgive me. But we are at the red dot. So this is our budget workshop. Everything before that's what's come before to get us to this point. Like Jerry said, everyone kind of handled this for me before I got here 4 weeks ago, and I have been feet to the ground trying to get us to this point now. We're going to be moving on to trying to get this finalized after any recommendations tonight to move into our second reading. And then from there, we should have a final, hopefully no changes after that point, and into our third reading and public hearing at the end of the month on the 22nd. So I'm going to go over quickly millage and value of a mill. This is how I was taught to calculate a value of a mill from my predecessor, which was Barry DeVore in Abbeville County. So I got this information from GW staff. They gave me their current assessment. This was back in May, so it has increased a little bit from the conversations he had and I had then. Then it was at 13%. I said tonight, I think he said it was at 14. So we had a little bit of an increase there. But the key points you're going to want to take away here is total tax value, which is 256 million. And then you're going to look at this assessment and appeals line. What this is a 4.5% assessment and appeals line. You're going to have people appeal this year. That appeal rate is going to be increased due to the reassessment. You're also always going to have a percentage that's uncollectible. You have people that don't want to pay their taxes or going to fight tooth and nail not to pay. So you're always going to factor in that into your millage number because you don't want to budget on money or anything to see. Which leads you to your total value of a mill. And what your value of a mill this year is 245,178 with that appeal and uncollectible rate factored in. We're also in a rollback year. So we got to roll back millage this year based on the formula given to us by the Department of Revenue. How you do that is last year's collections divided by this year's taxable value, and it came out as a 10% rollback, which is kind of being covered up by this little bar on the bottom. But it was 8.77 mils over the entire county budget that we would roll back this year.
Ask a question.
Yes.
Yes, please.
It might be more of a GW question, but how does new builds factor into the millage for the previous year and affect the rollback for the current year?
That's slow.
So we have a taxable value from last year. In addition to that, we have new builds. And then you're getting to a number for 2027. Are the new builds included in that calculation? Or are they removed because that had been incremental to start with?
You know, you want to go to the podium so that it can be on microphone.
He hasn't formulated an answer yet.
Yes, I have. She knows the answer. That's the
They
answer.
Okay.
So on this line over here where you've got the 206, that is with those new builds, ATIs, and those are also, that's new builds with mobile homes and regular real estate. So that is that factored out, and you use that to move forward.
Thank you.
And the number you get down here, that 256, is actually that 206 plus that personal property, that 35, which basically is the combination of vehicles, RVs, boats, anything that's not your home land.
Okay. Wonderful, thank you.
So what's changed? This is your general fund revenue. We're going to start there for this year. This is a 3-year projection, starting in 2025 and moving into 2026. We saw a decent jump between 25 and 26. We saw a little bit of a smaller jump between 26 and projected for 2027 for increase of just general property taxes. You're seeing a little bit of increase in licensing and permits, as we've heard multiple times tonight. There's more building occurring, and when more building occurs, those numbers will increase. Intergovernmental, including grants, slightly increased this year. Charges for services, including fines and fees, had a little bit of a bump. Interest remained about the same based off of the forecasting. Rents and royalties, we're not currently renting anything. Doesn't look like we've been renting for a while, so there's no revenue there. Miscellaneous revenues went up by about $15,000 this year. Other financing sources stayed the same. Asset disposition, I did end up adding $3,000 here. The reason for that is I did some back year forecasting, and it seems that every year we do have some asset disposed, and they were ranging anywhere from 5 to 10. So I budgeted on the cautionary side of 3. And then the last line item is deficit reduction / reserve fund. As you can see, that number's been increasing each year, but there's a caveat to that. Starting back in about 2022, our expenses were exceeding our revenues. And we were using this reserve fund line to balance that out so that our expenses didn't exceed our revenues and we could balance our budget. So coming into last year, the entire 1.73 million was to balance out our budget. That is the difference between our revenues and our expenditures. So the last 2 years, nothing has actually been added to our quote unquote reserve fund. It has been used to reduce our deficit, which is why it's got a dual name. This year, I worked really hard with Jerry and Melissa to reduce that number. There is still somewhat of a deficit. You don't get out of that in a year, but our goal is to continue to bring that down and make it so that that reserve fund does turn back into an actual reserve fund.
If I have any questions on
So this is gonna go by department. Most of these jumps are due to salaries. If you see something that's went down or went up, it is due to either cost of living increases, longevity increases, or department heads, long-term department heads leaving, and new department heads coming on at a lower salary rate. If there is something that is not due to that, I do have notes and I will mention that for y'all. If you'd like me to go line by line, I can, or if you just want to kind of take a minute to read over it, really up to y'all.
Is there a reason we set contingency at 0 this year?
Yes. Due to the current deficit, I was taught that if you budget in a contingency, it's that you have excess money left over after your revenues are done. We also have not previously used that line item in about 3 years. So to take that and move it into the fund to help with salaries and other items was a conversation I had with administration, and we thought it might be best to move forward that way so that we're not having to cut in other areas. It does look like any quote unquote contingency items were above that $75,000 limit and seemed to be pulled from the fund balance.
Oh, is that fair also 2 years ago, but I could be wrong. Since we're there though, can you go back a slide? On the deficit, we had a fund balance increase of around $900,000 last year.
Mhm.
And our revenue, does that mean our revenue for the deficit reserve fund was 2.6?
It means that overall expenses versus revenue, we only created $900,000. We didn't add anything to our reserve besides that $900,000, and even then.
So that's, we used the 1.7, so really that number was, we can back 900 out of that number.
Fund balance and reserve fund are kind of two different things, or they should be. Your reserve fund is supposed to be, this is just how I learned it from somebody who'd been doing it for 15 years. This is what he taught me. Your fund balance is supposed to be a separate pot of money set aside specifically for emergency situations handled by the treasurer. Your fund balance is your cash on hand that keeps the county running if an emergency happens. So when we added $900,000 to the fund balance, we didn't actually add anything to the reserve. We added $900,000 to that cash on hand, depleting that. I Can't remember how much we lost the
So,
previous year.
and that's what I'm kind of getting at is why did we pull 1.7 out of reserves? If we added 9 something to cash on hand, we should have only pulled 8 out of reserves.
I think it kind of zeroes itself out. They're not really pulling anything. It's used as an arbitrary, I won't say arbitrary, that's not a good number. It's used to balance the budget, and then what's left over is put into the fund balance. So
So is the 1.7 accurate, or do we need to dig into that further?
that was what was budgeted last year. If I look into what was collected last year, I can get you numbers on that. So all of this is what was budgeted. I should have prefaced with that. Please forgive me. It's not what was actually measured. These are what's budgeted. Yes.
That's a lot of number.
Yes. Sorry about that. I should have prefaced with that. That was on me. Please forgive me. I do have one department here that I wanted to speak on. There is a slight decrease in probate that is not due to salaries. This is actually due to a software implementation, if I'm not mistaken from the notes I had. And that software implementation is more expensive than the ongoing software usage. So they saw a little bit of a decrease in budget there due to that. The other reduction I want to touch on this one is the library. They have a reduction due to computer equipment / workforce going away, and that was a request from the library on their department.
How much of these, all these you're showing us in the 2027 budget that include these personnel requests?
Okay.
Are the personnel request in these numbers or no?
This is recommended numbers, not department requested numbers. Okay. On this one, the only one I want to mention is that social services number that was at their request. So there is a decrease there, but that was what they submitted for their request. I'll also provide all of y'all with a copy of this presentation. I'll make sure we get it.
I appreciate it.
I'm doing it so I can read the number.
No, you're good. I just wanted to say that it is really tiny, so you're fine. The last page, special appropriations was another area that it was decided at this time to remove to help with increases to other expenditures for departments themselves. So, I'm a big component of visuals. I like visuals. This just kind of breaks it down. So it's easily visible on what is being expended out through the county. Public safety and welfare is 56.18% of our overall expenditure budget. Parks and services is 7.56. Judicial services is 7.22. Public works is 10.31. And administration is 18.52. And I do want to give the caveat that administration includes all of the departments that don't fall under those other categories. So that's the treasurer, the assessor, the auditor, everybody else falls under that administration category. And then to further that breakdown, I did break down public safety since it's such a big chunk of the budget so that you have an idea of what was being utilized there. Special funds. This is set up a little bit different. You're going to see revenue at the top and expense below it for each department. These are self-sufficient funds that are supposed to fund and keep themselves afloat with their own revenues. To make a note, the difference between the revenue and the expense capital the revenue and expense for EMS capital is due to the fact that they currently have a usable fund balance that they've requested to use. So their expenditures are higher than their revenue, but they do have a fund balance to back that up. These are just some more of the departments that are.
Go back.
So we're collecting in revenue all it takes to run EMS.
If we go with the recommended millage for this year, yes.
I'm the same, we're budgeted to have that much.
If we go with the recommended millage, yes.
These funds, we only have purview over two of them, right?
All right, repeat that question,
We only have purview, council only has purview over two of these funds, correct?
if I'm not mistaken. Last slide, the one I wanna kind of point out is capital millage. There is a little less in expenditures than there is in revenue. It's only about $2,000 with that limit of. There just wasn't a $2,000 request basically to utilize, but that does build in a little bit of leeway for a slight price increase on something that was requested, or even just some reserve to fluctuate shipping or taxes or something of that nature. And I'm gonna address capital millage in a better breakdown in a couple slides, so we're gonna go over that a little bit. County impact / issues, CPI due to inflation plus population increase this year is 4.53%. It is down from last year, but we do still have a population increase. Our current capital requests exceed the revenue. Our mandated increases this year, such as retirement, employee insurance, property and liability, and workers' comp. There is no state increase on retirement this year, so the factor will be dependent on raises that are approved. That is what that will go up by. It has no other factor on it. There is no state increase on employer paid employee insurance this year. People have decided that they hit us hard enough the last 3 years and didn't do it again this year. I did factor in a 3% fluctuation for open enrollment and any new hires that might come on board. And then property and liability, you have about a 7% was what I was seeing projected there, and workers' comp was about a 2.77%. The other note is personnel requests outside of standard cost of living and longevity increases currently exceed revenue.
Property and liability still the same people, or we with staying now? Okay. Yeah.
So this is just a breakdown of totals of the requests. I did give y'all a full spreadsheet of each of those requests by department. But that was going to take a lot more time than any of us wanted to spend to go line by line on that. So I gave full totals here for each department's request, and then for personnel requests, there were 35 new positions requested overall, 9 pay band reclassifications overall, and 9 overall salary percent increase requests outside of cost of living and longevity. So that's if a department requested 5% versus whatever we have decided that cost of living would be this year. Current budget, we have, as you saw in the previous slide, for capital requests, we have $1.838 million. Capital requests currently total at $8.5 million. If all personnel requests were granted across the board instead of just cost of living and longevity, the difference is approximately $2.6 million.
Personnel sheet is the right-hand column, recommended ones.
This is the recommended as of right now for capital. This one I did go and give details what each one is. The one caveat I'd like to make here is you'll see the clerk report. They we put them at $100,000. They asked for rolling shelves. That quote came in at $200,000, but there was a discussion of phasing that in, doing half of that project this year and doing half of that project in the following year. So we can get the project started. And this is the last, it wouldn't all fit on one slide without being super, super tiny.
Mr. Chairman, would now be the time to ask about specific items or like what they are, or should that be another time?
If she presented something here you have a question about, certainly go ahead and ask them.
I was just curious about the vehicles under Sheriff's Department, $750,000. I remember last year it was close to that, I believe. I was just curious, what that looks like. A lot of money.
I'm sure they'll correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, but what Melissa and I talked about, that's 10 vehicles to replace their fleet and their fleet.
And that go with the 10 vehicles, and that and breed animal shelter too.
I know Chris Martin
I'm asking.
is back here, answer a question, but with the $750,000, that was for patrol vehicles.
Okay, I'm with you. So that, the animal control is by itself.
Right.
55, okay, I'm looking at my sheet.
We were to get a grant for some sheriff's vehicles, would that be in addition to these? Would it take care of this?
It would probably be used for next year. I mean, it could potentially be used if we got it that would possibly offset some of this cost.
Just for next year, that's.
Admin recommendation on personnel, recommended 2% cost of living for all employees and 2% longevity increase for eligible employees in the 2027 budget year. Basically, anyone who is eligible for that longevity increase will in fact get the longevity.
You haven't had CPI without population.
0.68 if I'm not mistaken. But I will email y'all.
We not going, trying to get a pay raise for nobody?
This is the pay raise. They get a 2% cost of living.
Yeah, ma'am, I ain't talking, saying. You got people out here making $3.50 an hour. That is my biggest concern. I'm not trying to further complain, not trying to make things like go wrong. I had some man eat MREs on lost because at the title on. And I come with loyalty. How they survive, I just, all I can tell them, thank you, thank you, thank you. Cause they loyalty. We move on.
Excuse me, I just want to say one thing. You know, y'all talk about all this growth in this county and how we're gonna take care of it. And y'all not really funding how to take care of what we got here. And that doesn't seem to scare any of y'all.
It do, sir, it do me.
Y'all not funding to take care of what we have. There ain't no point me standing here upsetting any of y'all. But the truth is the truth. It don't ever change. We deal with it every day.
That's why you lose, that's why everybody goes, they come here for a band-aid, so get certified in your department.
Well, I'm not getting your content, but I'll tell you, the bottom line is that y'all don't fund what we got. That's what breaks our heart. We battle every day. We don't get the Sears and Roebuck catalog. It's not a wish list we ask from y'all on this budget. We ask for what we need to combat what we face every day that none of y'all face. Y'all don't know what we face, but we ask what we need to be competitive against crime. And these people that pay all these tax monies expect the same thing everywhere else too. But thank y'all for your time.
I appreciate you, sir.
Yep.
Millage rates for 2027 projected. You're gonna see an increase in fire capital and EMS. The current millage is not sustaining these departments as they currently are. We need to address that now before it gets worse. unfortunately, as we've heard from multiple people, running these departments is extremely expensive and cost of things keep increasing. And without doing this, deficits will keep increasing on the county, and eventually our cash reserves will become non-existent, and that's not a place that we want to be. The other request is a fee increase for road maintenance, just $5, assigned specifically to bridge improvements. That does give us an additional $348,000 in capital.
I have a question on the increase in millage specific to the EMS. I'm just familiar with how they work. So there are revenues that are received from service charges for service. So that's the delta between what we collect in fees and what it costs to run the business.
But currently, I think projected this year for what they're collecting in fees is 2.6 million. Their budget was 6. I'll go back to that sheet.
So that 12 mills is $4 million.
The whole, yeah.
Okay. We just see it differently because it's carved out. General millage. Gotcha.
Not to back up too much, but the Ag Center, is that its own line item? I'm just looking at the capital request. Was that
Yes.
the deal? Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that.
It was created as its own line item because it
Without being-
previously was under Parks and Recreation.
It's been being moved out this year into its own program. Any other questions on this?
Thank you. Very good.
So that's everything I have. I know it's probably not what anybody wanted to hear. It wasn't the news I wanted to give if I was running through these numbers. But I am trying to not only look out for everybody, but also make sure the county is financially stable at the same time, which is a tough place to be in. Any other questions?
I just said thank you for what all y'all have did. And I'm back with the sheriff department, with the sheriff. We getting bigger. So it gonna cost somebody some more money. And like you said, I'm learning these, I'm looking at these numbers, looking at 35 new positions. 34, whatever, let me look at my sheet, make sure I'm back. Get it right back. We added was 35 new positions. 99, 18. It's 18 people get paid. Right,
Additional thing.
additional pay increase. I just wrote a couple things, item down so I can look at it later on. And when every department put down this piece of paper, I'm gonna fight for you. That's all I can do.
Their plan for these departments to address council, advocate for these, or are we being told there's just no money to consider any of them?
I mean, what we're saying is that, and Casey mentioned this earlier, that if we funded all of the positions, that's $2.6 million. And so next year, that'll be 2.6 times cost of living, times longevity increases. So we keep pulling that from our bank account. I mean, how are we going to increase the revenues to the point where we actually earn more than we spend? And
I
that's,
can answer part of that question. The IT department, we do several things in the IT department, and everything keeps getting contracted out. And we can save the county a lot of money.
You go
by
to the
not
point, man,
contracting
come up to the
it out.
point. Come up, put on the PA.
I wanna hear you, cause I know what you're saying, cause I know we contract everything out instead of putting it in y'all
And we're
pocket.
spending a lot of money. And if we can save that money, that the IT can do, because I have got 4 people in there that can do the work. We have not been told anything about, we were in 2 meetings over here at this building over here. We were in no meetings at the historical building. I don't know how much money was spent out at the very end of it, but that's money that me as a taxpayer has to pay when we can't make ends meet. I don't know why they don't use the IT department.
Tell me why. I'm asking all y'all, cause they're before my time.
So as it relates to the courthouse, when you do a historical preservation, there are certain things that the contractor is gonna require that they do and have control of to ensure certain, if there's a failure. So speaking specifically to that, because it was referenced, there was really no option for us to go in and spec out certain pieces of the work.
But then they
That's
come
not-
to us at the end and want to know how to make it work.
I'm not saying that didn't happen. What I'm saying is, on the front end, it was not scheduled for us to do parts of that internally. As a cost savings or anything, the fact that maybe you weren't consulted, that's a whole different issue. But as far as the reasoning why we didn't take on those things, we probably had internally in buildings and grounds, people that could have done certain things, but that the historic preservation piece of it precluded that. I appreciate any opportunity for us to save ourselves money by doing our own things, but that was not a knock or that you couldn't do it. I think that
Well,
was
this building over here, we did this building. We did it in the evenings to be out of everybody's way. We did this part of the building. We were expecting to do that building over there. Now we spent a ton of money over here that we've not been invited to help do. And that's a lot more money. That could have been money on everybody's pay raise that everybody's asking for. That's a lot of money.
Welcome to Lawrence County, man.
Yeah, when will we have a,
So I have a finalized rough draft. I will say it's rough, like if there are changes you'll implement or decide that need to be done, it will update based on that. But I do currently have a rough draft that I can, in the morning, when I send out these presentations, y'all PDF copy of.
I told you going into that, this was gonna be a hard conversation to have and that the presentation would be just, its presentation. We haven't even begun to do things, so I'll accept any and all criticism, but to say that we don't support people or we don't put monies to things that we're needing, it's disingenuous. I understand people get passionate and have, concerns and they want the best for their departments. But we don't sit up here, I don't sit up here looking ways to not fund things or to not have, essential services be handled. Over 50% of our budget is public safety, and so we try to continue to do that. We know growth's coming, and it will be a strain on everybody. Don't sit up here pretending that we don't see it. There are limits to how much we can tax you to pay for these things that we want. And if we said we wanted to fund everything on there, not physically possible to do. There's not enough money, we couldn't get enough money from Taxes Act 388. We'll make sure that doesn't happen. So I sit up here having to look at what the revenues are and the expenses and the ask and find a solution that best serves the needs of the county as a whole. So I understand it's emotional and you gotta be passionate, but we're gonna do the right thing, but we can only do what we can. Yes, Pam.
So looking at I have requested a vehicle because I took my personnel out because I was willing to work shifts. So that's what I did. I work all the time, 7 days a week. All I need is a vehicle.
It made the recommendation list.
Okay. And that's all I'm asking, because I've been here in this county for a long time. I was told last year I couldn't get nothing because we didn't have the money. And this year, I was afraid that I was gonna be told I was gonna get nothing else. So I appreciate everything that you could do for our department.
I believe it's the will of council to hear from all the departments, head their asks, and to be able to address those.
That's what I would like, ma'am. I would like what you, like he just said. I would like, I thank all of us. I thank for everybody, not just for me. Every department head come up and tell us what your item is. I understand, Stacy, you can't not put rides on safety.
No, and we gotta protect these folks, and we, as a taxpayer all my life in this county, we got to protect. And I know public safety is eating up a lot of the budget, but that's what we need. If we need that, that's what we need.
I'm with you, ma'am. Let me ask you this. I haven't looked at your whole sheet. I'm looking, and I'm gonna look at it more tonight. And you talk about it, but I didn't see it in one of your line items. The vests, did you put that in there?
The what?
Vests.
No, I did not put the vest in, because me and Chris had talked at the sheriff's office. We do go out in dangerous situations, and I'm trying my best to find grants for this. But I want my people to be protected just like everybody
Now,
else.
I just know I didn't see it. I'm gonna look at it.
Everybody says, why are you wearing vests and a gun in the corner? They already dead. But it's animals, it's other people. I mean, we gotta be protective, and if something happens to one of our personnel, then they're gonna say, well, why didn't you ask for this?
So that's
at least I'm
why, it's
asking
all
for it.
line item.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
We're gonna schedule more meetings or something.
So hearing the concerns and seeing the questions that we have, I think it's prudent for us to have a separate meeting once we have time to look at the budget and the requests, because we haven't really seen the entirety and been able to discuss it, so.
This is the first I've seen of anything, yeah.
Yeah. The budget reconciliation has a column with all of their requests and then the recommendation.
Okay.
So you'll be able to compare this.
Now, just to hear that you gave us tonight, I'm just looking at all the line items, and then the sheet here, and telling me about what they progress, how many personnel, and all of this.
So that's capital projects and personnel specifically.
Capital projects is the blue header and employees being requested.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Appreciate you, sir.
When we get that PDF, we know the columns, it's far right 2 columns is, or there's 3 columns, but, we have recommendations, we get council approval. The admin recommendations, I'm gonna assume that administration met with these departments and negotiated and, you know, went back and forth to get to that level. Is that transpired with these departments? Like it's.
It has.
Okay.
Let me ask y'all this, I'm not trying to put nobody on the spot. Some of the stuff that I'm looking at, like I said, we need to talk to them, not here, but I just wanna just put it out there. Some of the items that certain people ask for in certain department come in and help offset those. That's what I'm asking y'all.
As in,
Just me, I'm not trying to put nobody on the bus. Building the ground can do paint. I'm asking you, can they paint? I don't know.
I'm gonna say yes. And I see
Just ask
Mr. Wilson shaking his head. That's one of the things, and is that what you're talking about on item number 5?
Yeah, we paying, we're gonna pay $50,000 for paint.
Well, it says, it has 30,000 right there.
Okay, $30,000.
Yeah, we did not put that in there, for that same reason.
So now, I mean, I'm just looking at my sheet, I'm just,
Right.
so
That-
I can't, that department, somebody, we, you know, don't get me wrong. Like Miss, what's the IT lady, Miss, she said, why we always serving somebody else out when we can do it in-house? You use that money somewhere else,
Right, and that's one of the.
that's all I'm
items
saying, yeah.
that we did not recommend for that, because we do have people who can do that.
Okay, like you said, I'm saying, sir.
Yes, sir.
They're going about my sheet.
Mr. Chairman, while we're talking about scheduling, we do have statutory requirements that we have to meet as far as public notices go. And quite frankly, that has to be to the newspaper by May 27th. So y'all need to schedule a special meeting next week.
May 27th for,
We have to have revenues, expenditures, and the operating budget to the newspaper about 27.
That would happen last year. You say same thing last year. So
Correct, so I mean, we can, I don't mind coming in 3 days next week, but I'm saying that we have until the end of this month, we have to get those figures to the newspaper to publish before our public hearing. So it has to run for
of
14
June.
days.
Yeah, correct. I'm not talking about putting this off 3-4 weeks. I'm talking about.
I understand, but I think it's a lot more abbreviated than everybody realizes. We've got until May 27th.
So the reason we did this is to simplify things so that you can see what we're thinking of from the administration. You get to see the positions requested, you'll get to see the capital requested, and that's really the main part of this budget. And just to address the fact that, you know, we are operating in a deficit, and so anything that we do is we're going to be pulling more money from the deficit, from the undesignated fund balance.
Which will in turn make millage go up because you'll have to increase that deficit factor on the millage.
now what I would like to ask. The fire department, y'all asking for 6 more personnel, new hire, is that right? Now about my sheet, you asked 4 and you asked for 1, that makes 6.
Yes, yes,
So you asked for 8 last year.
yes.
I would give, it's just me, just y'all. I would let landfill. Building and ground or whatever you wanna call it. Roads and bridges need more personnel. Because they overloaded. And what did those 6 new people gonna take? 6 new people position. You got 4. And you got 1.
Well, one is a, maintenance tech to help our mechanic Cody Moore.
I'm with you on that.
We ran the report today. He has 75 pending work orders on trucks. And
So
we have,
we're gonna give every department an
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah.
I'm with you.
Maybe we don't let anybody lobby against somebody else to
Right,
have an
yeah,
opportunity.
so,
I get
Yeah, I
that.
appreciate it.
yeah.
I get that.
So not to sum it all, we've got 3 or 4 options, either levy taxes, continue at a deficit, or save enough money to go forward, but saying that a lot of people.
Correct.
Right. There's really only 3 options. And this was not meant to be contentious at all. I mean, really, we had these days, like, this is trying to put this together.
Sheriff's office is giving me over $1 billion capital. And that's over half of what we
Have to allocate. So it's not that we don't appreciate what the sheriff's office does, we really do. It's just a matter of, you ask us to look at this from a fiscal responsibility. And these are the recommendations that we make at this time. You know, what council does, you know, we will follow it. And we will do what you've requested, and we'll do what we can to make that work.
So let's schedule a meeting to have, all department heads come so we can ask specific questions of each one with their ask. And what Councilman Brownlee just said, if you didn't hear, we have like 3 options, right? It's deficit spend, which is almost what they presented to us, is a budget with some deficit spend.
Reduced from the previous.
Reduced from the previous year, but that we can do nothing and say no to everything, or we can levy more taxes. And even with a tax levy, we would not be able to satisfy all the asks of the departments for this year's budget.
Previous years for the general fund. Work with.
Perfect.
I'd like to know what our deficit spend was for last year too,
I'll run that.
out of the general fund. Numbers I've seen so far, we put almost $1 million into the fund balance, the general fund. I'm fully aware EMS, fire run deficits. They have their own funds. that don't go into the fund balance. So I'm really struggling on how we're having a deficit. We're dumping $1 million into the fund balance, but I'll let you get the numbers for me.
I'm looking at it then, I'm getting 911. Updating the community for $100,000. So, why you can't get some kind of grant? Money. I'm new, but I'm gonna look at this sheet.
What availability? We have to have, Wes, say the number, you said the 27th?
27.
That's tomorrow day, by the way.
Is there any possibility council administration, what is this week even on the table or? Sure.
Not Friday at 4 o'clock.
Friday.
To give everyone time to put together agendas, notice. Thursday. Thursday work.
Oh, no, Thursday, what day? I mean, what time?
Thursday. 36 o'clock for y'all.
Mr. Brownlee, I had planned on inviting the media to have a special preview day of the courthouse Thursday evening. 4 to 6. I mean, I could do it later if that's how you want to do it.
It's out there 8 to 5, I'm sure they'd figure a way to be there when you ask them.
Or we can. Could we start at 6 or?
We could start earlier.
No, I mean, we're saying at 6:30 and I won't keep everyone out too late, but.
If they're even newly married, well, no,
Yeah.
we good.
6:30. 6:30 on Thursday.
All right, Thursday, 6:30, what does that look for everybody?
So,
Good.
Department heads.
can we get a copy of what y'all got?
You got mine.
Can I tell you something, sir? I gotta hold on to mine. They should get you one though. I give you mine. I get one for somebody.
Mr. Chairman,
Which one you want?
Ms. West.
we have a training, it's in this room that day, we have a training scheduled for a co-worker training all this week in this room at 10, 2, and 6.
So we have a scheduling conflict with this location, but we will have,
Yeah.
can we use the Ag Center?
Really like going in the center of town that had a meeting space in it.
I know it would be nice.
All right then.
Are we able to get a copy of how you guys came up with what the budgets were, the monies, how it came about?
So what we'll do is we'll get the department heads the information they need to be prepared to come forward for this meeting. We'll also get the information we need. And then we'll go together and go through this and figure out the solution. This is not us against you or whatever. This is us trying to figure out how we are gonna go forward. So can we get?
I mean, I can give them the same information I give y'all as long as everyone's okay with that, but I can give them just their specific.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm fine.
So this ain't sheet here, ma'am?
They wouldn't get that one completely because it has other people's pay information on
I'm
it,
with you.
but I can give them the sections that belong to them.
Department heads will get their specific department numbers.
And I think I heard, Mr. Brownlee say that one of the other options would be to save the money to come up with that, but how long does that look to save the money if we're barely making it now? Where do you ever save?
What are you talking about?
I've told Save the Money Department, I don't even know if that's possible, it's an option. but
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Make it feasible.
If you're already running a deficit or whatnot, where does? And you kick the can down the road to come up with funding for all this on saving to get up to having the money to spend it. Where does that come from?
I mean, it'd be right, Peter, pay Paul, and then we have an issue 2 or 3 years down the road, which we.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have a solution that makes sense, whether we like it or not, but it'll be something that's based on what we can do, not hope. Hope's not. a plan.
Your department's running the deficit, who you want us to take it from? Make you volunteer in this.
Corner.
And-
possibly.
They don't pay taxes. They don't pay taxes in this county.
Or fire.
You don't live in that.
They don't live in fire, they're already.
All right, does anybody else, knowing we're gonna have this meeting on Thursday, anything else y'all want?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Councilman Patterson brought to my attention, we do have a committee meeting in effect for that day. I don't know if it's in stone, but it is, we were looking at that day for the committee meeting.
For health and emergency
Yeah.
services.
Yeah, which if we started at
You can
six,
have it before 6:30.
before 6:30, right? I was just bringing that to y'all's attention.
So we'll be at the AED building at 6 o'clock for the first meeting. Then we're gonna go into the second meeting at 6:30.
They have a conflict with this building, so we're gonna have to go to Axon.
He said that. Now, I wanna make sure we on the same
Right, but
page.
when we planned that committee meeting, was that, I don't know if that was factored in, but I mean, no, yeah,
You could still,
okay, yeah.
committee means you can hold it as a fishbowl of the administration.
Gotcha. Yeah, which, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I would just say if you have any direction for us, you can email it to us or give me a call.
Ms. Maddox, you got anything? Council,
Motion to adjourn.
all those in favor? Stand adjourned.